Hi everybody, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yee-haw! And today we're talking about Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. This is a video of me giving my first impressions of this game. And I'm going to tell you if I think it's worth your time. I'll talk about if it's worth your money too, but that's such a weird thing to think about, right? I mean, money is so subjective. I guess time is too, maybe if you've got nothing going on. I think the big question is this game worth your time? First off, thank you and hello for watching this video. If you find it in your heart to like or comment or subscribe, I would love you so much if you did that. Thank you to everyone who has. I make a lot of content like this, a lot of gaming content of whatever I'm playing right now. Right now it's Hood, Returnal, Auto Chess, stuff like that. Oh, and a quick aside. Someone mentioned in a recent video how they get so annoyed that my PlayStation is on when I'm recording. So I kept my PlayStation on and I have my controller right down here. It's all on, baby. It's on the whole time. Okay, I'm going to keep talking, but let's pull up some footage of Hood because that's probably more interesting than my face while I talk to you about my first impressions of this game. And, of course, whether or not I think you should check it out. First off, you might be asking, hey, Jake, what is Hood, Outlaws, and Legends? You're talking about Hood, Outlaws, and Legends, and I searched for it, but I have no idea what it is. It's a third-person action multiplayer game, and what it most reminds me of is Hunt Showdown. I don't know if you played Hunt Showdown, but Hunt Showdown is a really, really cool game, and it's actually the reason I wanted to play this. It's not developed by the same studio, but I felt like it had the same vibes when I saw trailers of Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. I thought, oh, this is going to give me those Hunt Showdown vibes. And honestly, it has. I think that's pretty cool. In this game, you are a team of bandits, and you are tasked with stealing a key off the Sheriff of Nottingham, unlocking a treasure vault, grabbing a chest, taking it to an extraction location and loading that chest onto, I don't know, your ship or something? I actually haven't really noticed. Maybe it's onto a ship. You kind of hoist it up with a winch. Anyway, so you do all that while at the same time, there is another team of bandits, of rogues, that is also trying to complete the same task. You are against each other. So you have all of these NPCs in the environment, guards, and again, the Sheriff of Nottingham, who's like a really, really tough enemy that you want to sneak around because he can instant kill you. And while all this is happening and you're sneaking around and you're trying to get this key and open this vault, there is a team of people who is doing the same thing and trying to kill you at the same time. The match really culminates near the end when one team has the chest and they get it to an extraction point, and then you are fighting over this chest. That's like the big finish to this game. Let me talk about some of the positives. First, the price. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about price and that wasn't a whole thing, but let's talk about it. I mean, the game's $30. I think that's pretty cool. In a world where games are becoming $70, this company recognizes what it made, a multiplayer-only game, but if people can hop in for a low price, hopefully they can get a lot of players to check it out, and I think it's a great price. So it's only $30, and it's the kind of game where, hey, maybe you could easily convince a friend to play, which, by the way, you're going to want to play with a friend. The game has 4 different classes, and each class feels pretty unique and vital, and I'm sure your mileage with this will vary. I personally am not a huge fan of the Hunter class, which is basically Maid Marian in the game. I think it's good, and I've seen it used very well. Every class I've seen used very well, but when I played as it, I was struggling and having a tough time. Let me talk about the classes really quick. There's a Ranger, who's basically Robin Hood, the Hunter, which is Maid Marian, the Brawler, which is Little John, and the Mystic, which is Took. I'm realizing I'm saying Took like I know who Took is. Who's Took? Oh, it's Friar Tuck. Ooh. All right, Jake, get it together. Each one serves a different purpose, but one cool thing that this game actually allows is you can get into a match and not have to be one of each of the 4 classes. So I've been in matches where, unfortunately, there were 3 of the Robin Hood characters and we got destroyed pretty hard, even though I could imagine a reality also where we really run over the enemy by just sniping them with our longbow. And you can play a match where it's completely balanced. So I think there are going to be advantages to both. And of course, there's going to be some meta that comes out at some point where it's like, oh my God, dude, you don't run a 3 Little John? Are you crazy? But for now, I think it's really cool that you don't have to have one of each inside of a match. So you don't load into a game and go, they already picked my class. Now I can't play the one I want. Okay, I'm rambling about the classes, but basically there is an archer, like long-range class, that's your Robin Hood. There's the hunter class, which is essentially the closest thing to an Assassin's Creed assassin. Everyone has the ability to assassinate, but this character focuses on it and has abilities that makes them invisible, and they can assassinate from different angles. You have the brawler, which is Little John, who is basically just your tank. A really cool character. Also, a lot of classes have secondary abilities, like the Robin Hood character can shoot a little arrow into these posts that are hanging, and you can put a rope there so your team can climb up. The brawler can lift those massive portcullis gates, and your team can actually all go under them, even when the gates are shut, which is such a huge advantage. And the Mystic, which is Friar Tuck, that character, he's got a great weapon, this long-range kind of, well, it's a melee weapon, but it's sort of got this great range to it, this flail. He can heal allies. He can let your team know where the enemies are using his ability. And everyone can also mark. There's an ability for everyone to mark, which is so good. I love that every game decides to take a lesson from Apex Legends book and just give you the ability to call out enemies and things on the map. It is so nice and so easy. But those are the 4 classes. You've got sort of a fighter healer-ish type with the Mystic. You've got a tanky brawler. You've got a more assassin-y based roguish character, the hunter. And then you've got a long-range ranger character. And they all feel pretty good and pretty useful and pretty different, which is really cool. So yeah, with more cool things, let me talk about the phases of the game sort of. So you start out, the enemy doesn't know you're there, and you and your team sneaks through kind of a lot of the enemies around the courtyard and making your way into the castle area wherever you are. I think there's like 5 or 6 maps, but they all kind of have a vibe where you're getting somewhere that's guarded by more people, and you start on the outskirts. You can start just sort of guns a-blazing, for lack of a better term, and start attacking everyone, but you absolutely do not have to do that. In fact, you probably shouldn't. You can sneak by guards altogether, and you can also kill them. It's a way to generate your character's ultimate abilities faster, or I guess in this game they just call them abilities, but I'm so used to MOBAs, so for me it's an ult. So you generate your ult a little bit faster by killing all of these guards. And you're making your way through this area until you find this one specific bad guy that you can never kill, but you can disable, the Sheriff of Nottingham. The best thing you can do with him is never alert him to your presence, sneak by him, grab the key that he has, and then make your way to the vault inside the level. Once you get to the vault, you open it. The doors kind of slowly open, so it gives the enemy team a lot of time to come in and have an encounter there. There are basically multiple moments throughout the game that are set up to have clashes between you and the other team. They don't always happen, but there are multiple moments set up. So there's finding the key, where both teams can kind of converge and fight there. There's getting to the vault, where both teams can converge and fight there. And then finally, well, not even finally, then there's taking the treasure from the vault, with one character is basically useless while they're holding the treasure, and they have to take it to an extraction point. So there's a big fight there. And then there's a final fight when you're trying to extract the treasure. The way it works is you put the treasure in sort of this little extraction zone, and whichever team is powering the winch, that team gets the bonus from filling this meter. Now, the meter can fill all the way up, and the other team can steal it right at the end, and the other team claims victory. So there's a lot of strategy around when you want to fight, when you want to start pushing the treasure in. It's really, really interesting. And I think especially if you're playing with people you know or people you can communicate with, you can come up with some pretty great plans. Another positive for this game that I actually didn't expect, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the combat in it. It's heavily stamina focused, but I think it works really well in that regard because you have to make good decisions when you're fighting enemy players, and it doesn't feel like you can just go in and sort of spam an attack button and kill everybody. Moments where you're able to take out multiple guys and parry attacks, use your ultimate ability, and throw your piece of gear. Oh, by the way, everyone has gear that all does different things, and a lot of it's very cool. One guy has a bomb, and you know what? They're all kind of bomb-based. One guy has a bomb. That's the tank. One guy has sort of a gas bomb. Another person has a smoke bomb. And another person has sort of a flashbang bomb. Look, they're all bombs. I didn't realize it until I started talking about it, but they're all bombs. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that I wasn't in love with. And again, this is all very early. I'm excited to play more. I mean, just to, I guess, kind of spoil it a little bit. I'm excited to play more, but here we go with some of the things that I'm not in love with. First off, it took a really long time to find some matches. People just weren't hopping in the games, and I'm sure that's just because the game, it literally just came out. So I'm not super stressed about it. It's out, and it's only out for people who pre-ordered it. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but it was taking quite a while to find a game at some point. Another downside is I think if you're playing this game solo only, if you don't have anyone to play it with, or you don't hop on, the Discord for this game or the Reddit for this game and find some people to team up with, you're going to get a little frustrated with what some of your random teammates do. I played a game where one of our teammates got the key, which is what you need to open the vault, and then just decided to go all the way across the map, very, very far away from where the vault was for a really long time. I don't know if he didn't know what was going on, but it just felt like the longest game ever because the enemy team didn't even know where we were. They were so confused that we barely ever ran into them. It was a whole thing. I've also noticed that some matches, which is to be expected in multiplayer games, but some matches you get completely run over by a much better squad. And other matches you kind of destroy the enemy team because I don't know what they're doing. They just can't figure out what's going on. You get sort of lucky and you sneak up on them a couple times and you kill them and they just can't get their footing. So because of that, only some matches are super fun. But when they're really fun, especially when you're playing with a friend and you're trying to sneak out of this keep and you've got the treasure at this point and the doors are slamming behind you and you've got to lift them up with your tank and you're helping your buddy get to the point, it's really cool. So my thought right away, early on, again, these are early impressions, is it worth your time? I think if any of that sounds cool, and if you have someone to play with, my answer is absolutely. If you don't have someone to play with, maybe. My thoughts, maybe. I will still play this game solo. In fact, I played a lot of it solo. But I think it's really, really fun with a friend, especially if you're not taking it too serious. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you know what you're trying to do, but you're not getting to the point where you're screaming at your friend because they're not following the gate strat that you've perfectly figured out. I have more that I want to say about this game, but I also want to put some more time into this game. So there are my first big thoughts. I think it's cool. I think it has some issues. It's also got some weird bugs. They're not like game breaking. My game did crash like right near the end one time, which kind of sucked. But and then another time, multiple times actually, while I was playing, I would end a match, completely leave whatever party I was in, and the voice chat of that party was still coming through my PlayStation controller. I'm playing it on PS5, by the way. That's what you're watching it on. And it was really confusing because I thought it was sort of ambiance from the game because PlayStation does that. And then I realized I'm just listening to some guy breathe and like clack his keyboards. But anyway, enough of that. Enough nonsense. I'm rambling. My first thought, play it. Play Hood Laws. Oh no, Jake. Play Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. It's really, really fun. I think it's worth your time. It's not a big investment, and if you can get a friend, it's great. Hop in, check it out. I plan on making some more videos about it. This has been Jake, your resident content cowboy, saying, Mwah. See y'all next time.